Hi everybody, welcome to this Jewel of the Soul reading for the week of March 5th, 2017. So I really got a sense, even when I took a picture of the cards, they looked jewel-like in tone. So I really want to revisit on the whole renaming of this series that I did a while back, really when I first got my diagnosis. This idea of delivering you each week a message that is a unique jewel to you. Now granted, this is a general reading and I have lots of people on YouTube and Facebook who take part in this, also Instagram. But the themes that I'm providing is just a slight direction. It puts you on a path. And then I really want to encourage you to dig deeper into that, like, well, what could that mean for me? And to allow your intuition to play a role in customizing this reading for you, because obviously it's impossible for me to hit on perfectly for everybody. But I do, again, when I pull the cards, I dowse with my pendulum to be sure that I have the right card. And sometimes I don't notice the right card, and so I have to go back and reshuffle and choose again until I get a yes indication with my pendulum. So just to revisit on that, these messages, I love the importance of how it feels to say that I'm delivering to you a jewel of your soul, something, a shining part of the innermost portion of your heart chamber that is your soul, that is the most expanded version of you, that's not constricted by the human bodysuit, that's not constricted by life on earth and all that we have to deal with here, that's not constricted by polarities that we constantly experience in our everyday lives, seeing the contrast of what we do want, what we don't want, we're not sure what we want, all of that. It's not easy to be here on this planet, okay? And it's really not right now. So I love the symbol that we have for this week. It is the shining energy from Leo. And it's kind of midpoint in the Sabian symbols of Leo. It's Leo 13, which reads, an old sea captain rocking himself on the porch of his cottage. Now, if my body could tolerate it, we have very cold temperatures here in New Hampshire. I would be rocking on my porch just for you, but it is just too bitter cold out there. So instead, I'm in the rocking chair in my office that when clients come to see me for in-person sessions, this is exactly the seat that they sit in with a peacock-inspired pillow behind their back and a peacock wreath in the back of them and a candle lit that's their illumination. I love seeing people in person. And so that's the best that I can offer for rocking on the porch, is rocking in my office this week. And I really get the sense that this week we could just benefit from, I was getting immediately quieting the mind and spending time reflecting. Because we're in such a fast forward moving way of life here on earth, generally speaking, that it can be hard to slow down and to take the pause that you need to reflect on everything that you have come through, everything that you have planned ahead of you, everything that has made you who you are up to this moment. And when we think about an old sea captain rocking himself on the porch of his cottage, you know that he's thinking about all those journeys. And our life is composed of many journeys, some of them incredibly joyous, some of them incredibly challenging, and some very heartbreaking, and some that totally shift you on your path in a way that you could never have imagined. And that's what I think of with an old sea captain. We think of that as one of the most dangerous jobs that there is, the fishing shows that are on TV. They talk about Those are among the most dangerous jobs on the planet. But they have big paydays sometimes too. And they have great adventure. No trip is alike. And no trip to Earth is alike either. And so know that when we come into the planet, we choose the date and the time of our birth, we choose the location, our parents, all of that is selected by us as a soul in order to have a certain kind of experience. And as many of you know, I am an astrologer, and those placements of the planets, and especially the north and south nodes, are very important in our experience here. And the north and south nodes of the moon it is no mistake that they are opposing one another. And the south end, when I read somebody's chart, the south end represents kind of what we're moving away from, what the soul wants to move away from. It's an old pattern. We've had many lifetimes, been there, done that. And the north node is what the soul wants to move towards. So it's really revealing to look at those points in your chart. And they are directly opposing each other in the wheel of your astrological natal chart. They represent what's known as a polarity. For instance, for me, I have Virgo, my south node in Virgo, and my north node in Pisces. And that is directly, it is moving away from the perfectionism and the needing to nail everything down and towards the flowing and intuitive and trusting faith-based nature of Pisces. And boy, hasn't that been the challenge of my lifetime. And I would say that this is, it is true for everybody. Your astrology tells a lot about you. And I feel that because sea captains also use the cosmos to help guide them. And the moon has an incredible effect on the seas themselves and how riled up, how high they are, how low they are. And so I feel like this week we're really reflecting on all that. Reflect on, if it speaks to you, the magnificence of you choosing an exact birth time that gives you a particular rising sign, an ascendant as it's known in your chart, that is the soul base. It is the essence of who you are. You have a sun placement, a moon placement, and all the other planets. And they make a pattern in your astrology chart. And you have the north and south nodes. All of this information guiding you, helping you. That's one example of how you could reflect like the refinement that we are offered when we decide to incarnate on this planet. We choose our parents. Believe it or not, we sure do. And we choose our experiences. We know there's going to be some bumps in the road. That's part of life on Earth. But just by the mere fact of that polarity that represents your north and south node, we really do come here to experience quite the opposite of what we've experienced in the past. And so this can be really powerful for reflecting, is even how far you've come as a soul, as a person on this earth, from who you were when you were 10, 12 years old. When you were 18 and you had the world by the tail, you knew what was going on. As you're getting your first job, getting your feet wet, I would say that most likely those of you in your 30s, 40s, which most of my listeners are, and certainly beyond, are drastically different. And there can be real value to spending some time reflecting on how far you've come. And I want to give you kind of a big hug and a pat on the back, well deserved, that you're figuring it out. That the sun indeed does rise and life moves on through the bumps, through the joys, through the trials, the tribulations, the great adventures. Again, think about the sea captain. That is you this week. In retirement, no longer needing to step on that big ship, No longer needing to plan all the details. You're looking back this week, you're reflecting, and by doing so, you are giving your brain, your ego consciousness, a break. You're giving yourself a much needed break and saying, all right, look at how much I've done. I need to maybe not be so hard on myself about what I need to do next, about those next steps. I need to just relish in everything that I've accomplished to date. And there's nothing wrong with spending the whole freaking week doing that. I give you the doctor's note on this one. Spend as much time as you can. Maybe even journaling. Looking at different portions of your life. Look at you from when you were a teenager and maybe you were angry and, everything that was going on then and what you thought about the world at that time. And then move to maybe a few other segments of your life and then look at where you're at now. And all the wisdom that has been gained. The old sea captain has a tremendous amount of wisdom because he's really seen just about every angle of adventure that there could be every time that boat went out. And now he's just sitting there relaxing in it, enjoying it. That's the energy of Leo. We're at Leo 13 this week. So it is the energy of the 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 in numerology is about the Cancer energy. It is about taking pride in the yumminess of life. Cancer loves to wrap up in really warm, snuggly blankets and be propped up against big, fluffy pillows and just be all snuggled in and warm. And that's the way I feel with this energy. And we've got Leo, the sun, happiness, joy. So I want you to give yourself a break this week, and looking back can be helpful, and it's really, it grounds us to then have the energy to move forward as we're making decisions in our life, as we're facing things in our life, as we're making plans for big, important things that are going to happen. Okay? All right, so with that, let's get on to the cards. And the first card is from the Magdalene Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. And this, I have not looked at these. Little children, oh boy. So you people, it would be really good if you could do in your reflection time this week, think about yourself in the different phases of what you would call your childhood. Typically for most people that's up to about age 18. Inner child is wanting to really come loose this week. And reflecting, time to reflect. I often think of this like lily pads when I look at this. I'm not sure that that's exactly what they are. Sorry for the glare on this. But that's what I think of when I look at it. And when we're children, we can hop from thing to thing to thing really quickly. And so it might just be helpful to remember that spirit of who you were in those younger ages and go back as far as you can, your earliest memories, okay? And really think about who was I then and what did I look forward to? And what was the most traumatic thing that happened to me during those times? I want you to look at all of it. I'm not saying to only look at the happy, shiny stuff, because the troublesome stuff are some of the pieces that really help to define you the most. They buff up the diamond really well. Okay? So for you that chose this, spending some time getting in touch with what's known as the inner child, that part of you lives in the sacral chakra just below your belly button. Orange is a great color if you have any orange to wear, or get orange flowers for yourself this week. If you like that, or if you have orange essential oil, have that diffused in your home or at work. Think about eating a lot of orange, like citrus. Orange color This may sound silly, but this all spurs inner child. It's that passion. It's why I love that I have orange in my logo. It's wild horse energy. It's just wide out and open like you as a child, not afraid of what anybody's going to say. Think of you in your most imaginative moments. I feel like you could benefit in your reflection this week in quieting the mind by remembering that imaginative side of you, the part of you that believed in magic and wonder and trusted. We think about how much as children we really trust in those people around us, the people that really love us, that take care of us. And sadly, that sometimes disappears over time. And so really spend some time thinking again that it's okay to get those feelings back again, and to get out of a place where you may feel defensive, or you may feel like you have to retreat, or you may feel hardened up. I call that contracted. You stay in this very contracted place, and you become very like you have a shell over you and not willing to show any vulnerability. And children show their vulnerability all the time. They openly cry when they need to. They have a screaming fit when they need to. And I'm a proponent that that's not all bad to have as an adult too. Especially the crying piece, that when you're frustrated and you don't know where else to go, it can be hugely beneficial to have a darn good cry. So I'm bringing up a lot of subjects here related to inner child. Not all of these are going to be applicable to you, but just really think about, what of the inner child journey you, from as early as you can remember up to about age 18, reflecting back on that time, and what of that stage of me, and that really it's multiple stages when we think about it, could I bring into my life now that could help me out with whatever feels heavy, whatever feels like my feet are dragging through mud. Because that inner child can really help you out this week just by having some simple reflection time and really basking in the imagination, feelings of imagination, belief, trust, knowing you're taken care of. You weren't worried about the country. You didn't have these huge worries and like you had to take care of everything. That just didn't exist. Okay? So really think about how inner child could come into play here with that. Okay, second card we have is from Messages from Your Animal Spirit Guides by Stephen Farmer. These tend to be really grounded cards. They're very action focused generally. So, not having looked at these yet, mountain goat is what we have. All right, and this says there's something out of balance in your life, so do whatever you need to do to correct it. So again, this isn't, I brought that up about these being action-oriented because this isn't an action-oriented week with the symbol that we have, with the vibration that I'm feeling. So for you, that jewel that's coming forward is whatever, it's this mountain goat part of you. It's this, I just got to keep going. It's that's sort of the Capricorn kind of energy, like just achieving, pushing, going, doing, being. It's very masculine-oriented energy. Lordy, lordy, we're all there at one time or another, and, ever revolving. And it's part of a good life here on earth is that we do need to settle down and focus and have something to focus our attention on as a goal and to work towards that. That's how we evolve as humans. What I get the sense of for you that chose this card is that you may be very, very focused on achievement. And when we're focused so much in that way, we definitely don't spend time reflecting, and we don't often spend time being really present in the things that we have right in front of us. Our family, most of all ourselves, what our body, what our human needs are. So in your reflection this week, you can just think about, how is it that I could maybe begin to be more present to what's occurring for me right now in my life, and take my eyes off the ball for a minute. Take my eyes off from needing to balance everything, from thinking that I have to be the one to make all these things happen, because they won't happen. Because who knows, somebody else in your house or at work or a friend, they might pick up the slack. And notice that something's not getting done and you're not worried about it. And either they might decide, well, I kind of would like that to be done, so I guess I'm just going to do it. Particularly mothers are known to be of this type, that there's so much to balance. There's so much that we're trying to accomplish in a given day that we've got a to-do list set up for ourselves in our brain before we even get out of bed. And what if instead, before you get out of bed, you set the intention for what you're wanting for your day, and you put out there to your team, to your higher self, I can't wait to see what you've got in store for me that helps me to see this for myself, whatever it is you're intending. Whether it's joy or being more present. So then you will have situations that make you more present. That could be really useful in terms of a reflection tool, is to reflect back towards the self. Okay, so it's not so much reflecting on adventures of the past, it's more reflecting in the moment. And kind of getting out of this ever achieving. The mountain goat never stops climbing, just goes, because there's got to be food somewhere around the bend. We're just always needing to get to that next thing. And the energy supports you to take a break from that this week. To take pleasure in whatever it is you're wanting to take pleasure in. But don't forget about you. I want you to put you at the front of the list. And by giving ourselves that attunement, the jewel of ourselves, we then can be more available for other people. Because if we don't give ourselves the sustenance that we're looking for, just a little bit of time to do what we need and want to do for ourselves, whether that's to take a bath, or to read, or to work on a hobby, or to try something new, or go to a class. If we don't take that time, nobody else is going to give that to you, because they may not even know that you want that. But you can speak up for it and say, I'm sorry, I can't handle dinner tonight because I am going to go out to this meeting that I really want to go to, or this class, or geez, honey, could you handle the cleanup because I'd really like to go in the bath tonight. And in every family, there needs to be that sense of a give and take of what we each need, but we have to speak up for what it is that we need. Okay? So I see that old sea captain rocking himself on the porch of his cottage as the more taking it easy part of the message of, you think about if you envision that image, he has the time to be able to reflect. That's the whole point. It's like when somebody is retired, you think of, okay, they have the time then to get to those projects that they really want to do. And what if you don't want to wait till you're retired to get to those projects? What if you would actually like to do them now? What if you would like to do very personal pursuits that matter to you now and not in retirement age? Or if you are in retirement age, then what if you don't wait for perfect timing or, when you feel better or whatever excuse might be coming up? Because there is truly no time like the present. It's why it's a present to you. It's like a gift. So there we go. I think that's complete for that card. And then the third card is from the Andorra series of cards that I have. This is the actual crystal that is shown on the back here, which is Andarian Storm. I've never pulled this one before. The image on the back is just beautiful. So I'm going to read you what this says, and then we'll get to the interpretation. I will assist you in working with your shadow aspects. Allow your shadow to become illuminated and brought into wholeness. I will help you to read energy and see between the veils. I am a sorcerer's stone. Great magic is available to you when you work with me. I will open you to channel messages and insights from your highest self. I can help you to see the gifts even amongst the darkest of circumstances. So I'm getting with this, it's interesting that it's the storm crystal. And here we have a sea captain. So you as the sea captain, rocking away in the chair on the porch of your cottage, you've got the time this week, you're making the time to reflect, to quiet your mind, to suck yourself out of all the current situation, blah, and to spend time in reflection for yourself. Isn't it interesting that it's the storm crystal? So the sea captain's thinking about all the storms he has encountered and how he got through those. So I'm wondering if you have some bumpy seas that have popped up in your experience. If you have some areas that feel like a sea captain out on a big ship in the middle of the ocean and it's really foggy and he can't quite see the way forward. And thank God for things like sonar and all these other tools, but there's nothing like your visual, your sight, to be able to really determine, to discern for yourself, okay, this way feels right because at least I can see that. So you might be in a foggy period, there might be some bumps going on, but you have the opportunity of reflection into past storms. At the age you're at, no matter what age, you have been through storms. Welcome to life on earth. And as I said before, earlier in the reading, nothing buffets the diamond and makes it shine like some of the roughest sandpaper or whatever it is they use for that buffet process. Nothing makes it shine quite like that. So the friction that is produced from storms, the literal lightning that is produced out of storms, and the moon energy, which is the emotional energy which raises those seas and really big swells of the ocean rising up. It causes us to get real clear about our actions. You got to believe that sea captain is getting really clear about, okay, he's informing his crew, this is what we're going to do. I can't really see right now, so we're just going to take it slow, and I'm going to keep going this way because my experience shows me that typically has been the best path. But what's interesting when I think about this energy, when I'm talking about it, is that it's about taking it slow this week. It's slowing down your mental process. You might be too like little mice on the wheel up in your brain a lot lately, and that energy within itself can cause tremendous amount of uncertainty and frustration energy. And so in your reflection time this week, it can just, your brain needs a break. Step off the wheel and don't feel that you have to figure it all out, because maybe the pieces that will help to make things not so foggy just simply haven't shown up yet. So that's okay. Give them the time they need, whatever it is, information, people, money, answers, whatever it is that could make your picture more clear if it's foggy. Give it the time and the space to show up for you. And you can really allow that to happen much more easily if you get off the rat wheel of allowing yourself to just go. You know, I got to figure this out. I've got to push this person. I've got to make the money. I've got to because it's running after its tail. It's just running around. The energy is literally, I'm seeing it as this regular pattern that isn't breaking at all. It isn't changing at all. And sometimes we get stuck. It's just and it is a very cloudy place to be, stormy. And then your emotions get heightened, just like the seas of the ocean. And then others respond and they get edgy and all this, then it becomes this chaotic kind of, sometimes angry tinged exchanges that happen. And all of our exchange, even nonverbal, contributes to the energy within your household, within your workspace, with outings with friends. We all have these big spheres that is our energy bubble, our energy sphere, our sphere of influence. And so when we're bringing it out with filled with lightning and storminess and high seas and, just general turbulence, then that affects people around us too. And know also that maybe you have a lot of that energy around you. And you might be being affected by that, and that might be causing the rat wheel. It may not be you that is making that happen, but you have it all around you. So it's really valuable this week to have the time to kind of unplug from all of that and to have some time to reflect. And you can even have that during the middle of a work day. You know, you take a trip to the bathroom and you spend just a few moments getting settled for yourself. Like, I've been here before. I know these seas. I know this kind of storm. And I bet you if you do some reflection, if you do some journaling on if you're having a particular problem area, that you've been down this path before. And just think about your options for how you could get through it. And also go outside the box of perhaps things you haven't chosen to do before with those. Because sometimes the greatest gains are made when we choose a whole other path that we haven't even considered. And you have that always open to you as an option. But I think the biggest thing you can do for yourself this week is to take that time of reflection, to disengage from whatever storms you may be participating in or helping to stir up or being affected by from others, and trying to chart a course, trying to make a plan, because clearly the energy just keeps spinning. That's what I get a very clear visual of that with this card. And it's what I'm seeing is the fact that it's hard to see. It's like it's pea soup and you're trying to make your way through it with this big old boat that is worth a whole lot of money. And it's a big risk. So taking it slow and being mindful is going to be the best route forward. Okay? So there we go, everybody. I hope that those words are helpful as a messenger of this jewel for your soul. And until next week, I wish you good vibrations. Bye-bye for now.